This is an audio journal of the young men who will not accept the decline of Western civilization. Today's voices are Gabriel Stolaas, William Gibson, and Micah and Will. Join us on our quest for the noble spirit through the path of virtue and valor. There is a military saying, slow is smooth, and smooth is fast. How does that work? In the modern age of gunfighting, there is so much fear because death is instant. One has to keep your head, even in the face of instant death whizzing all around you, and kill your enemy before he can calm his nerves and kill you. Therefore, the military, when dealing with room clearing and these really close quarters fighting where you kick the door open and it's just from one side of a living room to another, close range, they had to teach their guys this idea to calm themselves down and learn how to do it slowly. If you can do it slowly and smoothly, you can do it quickly. The whole point of this, understand the deadly fear, that's why we're training to become smooth, but to overcome your fear and not act in a panicked and uncoordinated way that doesn't accomplish anything but get yourself killed. Now, life, real life, once we begin engaging with it and trying to be an adult, taking real risks, can be very terrifying. But if we allow these fears to get to us, we become paralyzed. So it's a very strange balance that we have to walk as adults trying to take on responsibility, trying to take on, risks and vulnerabilities like relationships and new careers and financial risks. But at the same time, we can't be reckless. We have to be sensible, but still within that sensibility, within that fear, moving carefully and smoothly. Will, you had a fantastic quote by C.S. Lewis about living through fear.
Yes. So C.S. Lewis, classically, happened to live through the time of bombings and lived through the time of the invention of the atomic bomb. And he had something very relevant to say. So the quote is this. In one way, we think a great deal too much of the atomic bomb. How are we to live in an atomic age? I am tempted to reply, why, as you would have lived in the 16th century when the plague visited London almost every year, or as you would have lived in a Viking age when raiders from Scandinavia might land and cut your throat any night, or indeed as you are already living in an age of cancer, an age of syphilis, an age of paralysis, an age of air raids, an age of railway accidents, and an age of motor accidents. In other words, do not let us begin by exaggerating the novelty of our situation. Believe me, dear sir or madam, you and all whom you love were already sentenced to death before the atomic bomb was invented. And quite a high percentage of us were going to die in unpleasant ways. We had, indeed, one very great advantage over our ancestors. Anesthetics. But we have that still. It is perfectly ridiculous to go about whimpering and drawing long faces because the scientists have added one more chance of painful and premature death to a world which already bristled with such chances, and in which death itself was not a chance at all, but a certainty.
Nice.
This is the first point to be made, and the first action to be taken is to pull oneself together. If we are all going to be destroyed by an atomic bomb, let that bomb, when it comes, find us doing sensible and human things. Praying, working, teaching, reading, listening to music, bathing the children, playing tennis, chatting to our friends over a pint and a game of darts, not huddled together like frightened sheep and thinking about bombs. They may break our bodies. A microbe can do that too. But they need not dominate our minds.
Amen. Fantastic quote. That is really great because he talks about the fear of bombs versus the reality of death, which is all around us anyway. This brings me on to my second point. I want to talk about the concept of suppression fire. So again, in the modern age, when you're fighting with guns and things like that, you want to shoot sometimes at your enemy, but not very accurately. You're not going smooth and slow at all. You're just shooting wildly and quickly to make him duck. So we are trying to suppress the enemy, keep him cowering on the ground and too afraid to pop his head up. because of all the bullets whizzing over his head. And while he is suppressed, he can't shoot back, he can't move, and we can either send some of our guys to flank around him and kill him, or we can simply get on the radio and call in a mortar strike, a bomb, something to blow him up because we know exactly where he is. We know that he's hiding and he's scared and he's not moving, right? This concept of suppression fire is really fascinating to me because suppression fire will absolutely kill you if you do stand up. If you have no fear at all and you just say, I'm not scared, and you just stand up, the bullets will hit you in the face. Or, you can imagine at the Battle of D-Day, if someone just said, I'm built different, and started walking up the beach, standing straight up, you would die, right?
Yeah.
However, to cower in terror and not move at all and just hear the bullets cracking over your head thinking, oh my God, I'm going to die, that will 100% kill you. Because every second that you spend cowering, they are moving closer to you, or they're calling in a bomb on you or something. Suppression fire is this really fascinating concept to me because we have to recognize the danger, we have to recognize the fear, but we can't let that fear govern our decisions. If we do, then we've already lost. We might as well be dead. If we're so afraid of some horrible potential future, like a stock market crash or another COVID virus or World War III or some horrible calamity, and because of that calamity, we don't educate ourselves, we don't work on ourselves, we don't try to earn any money, we don't try to get married, then, well, the enemy might as well have killed us. They don't need to drop a bomb on us. Yeah, Will, you have a thought?
Yeah, and just to add to that, right, we're talking a lot about defeating this fear.
Yeah.
Right? And just to clarify, part of that for me is because I see that as one reason why people go fast and messy.
Right.
Because they are insecure in the future, they're scared of the future, they do not think they have long for the earth for whatever reason, and I just want to dismantle that.
Right.
Because I think you have long for the earth, and even if you don't, and the bomb does find you, well then that's that.
Right.
You don't have control over that.
Right.
But what if the bomb doesn't find you?
Right.
Right. How do you live well? That's what this episode's about.
Absolutely.
There's never going to be a perfect time to do anything. No matter what you do, you're always going to have something come up or something happen where, if I just wait another year, then this problem that I have won't be here anymore. It'll be a better time. When I started my trucking company, the economy was not doing very, very hot. The trucking economy was very low. But at the same time, I knew that I was single and I was not married, didn't have anybody relying on me. So my trucker friends were all just saying, don't do it now. Don't do it now. Some people were saying do it now, but most were saying no. And I figured, well, it's never going to be perfect. I'm in a position where I can do it right now. So I'm going to go ahead and do it right now. Why wait?
Right.
And I just chose to face the difficulties and just push through it. There's never going to be a perfect time, ever. There will always be something.
Yeah, absolutely. I really like, first, Will, what you mentioned about what if the world doesn't blow up? And that plays perfectly into what Gabe just said. There's never a perfect time. If you think that you'll get some kind of all clear, some kind of ceasefire, and you'll know, okay, now I can stand up, now I can do my things. No, that's not going to happen. You need to learn how to operate with the stress, with the dread.
Yeah.
And just assume I'm going to keep trying, and I'm not going to listen to that voice that says, everything's going to fail. I want to speak briefly on this. Those of you familiar with internet culture know of the concept of the black pill, which riffs off of the Matrix's red and blue pills, but now with a black pill, which is just pure depression.
Yeah.
Just there's no point, everything is over, it's all going to fail, it's over, bros. As Will, as you were saying before we started recording, it's really not over.
Yeah.
Babies are still being born, food is still growing, bees are still flying.
Yeah.
The sun is still shining.
Yeah. It's not over till it's over.
It's not over till it's over. And your ancestors have survived much worse things than this. Reject the black pill, reject the enemy's suppression fire. There will always be suppression fire. There will always be anxieties in your life that tell you just stay still, hunker down, apply next year, try next year, wait for a better moment to talk to her, whatever the example is. You have to be able to move through that. There are many different ways that you can break out of suppression fire if you're being suppressed. You try to pop smoke or obscure the enemy's vision while you get out of the way. You can try to everybody stand up, shoot back, and get fire superiority where you make them back down because you just stand up and start shooting.
You out-suppress their fire.
Right. You can call in, your own artillery or something like that. But the most important thing is that you don't stay where you are.
Yeah.
You don't react to what they do, you make them react to what you do.
Hmm.
So if if you play chess,
Hmm.
in chess, you take turns with each other. So it's very easy to fall into the trap of reacting to what the other person is always doing. He makes a move, then you have to move to counter it. Then he makes another move, then you have to move.
Right.
And when you're in that mindset, you're constantly reacting to him. You can't formulate a plan, and he starts beating you.
Hmm.
But if you can maybe take a little bit of loss, take some pain,
Hmm.
lose a piece or two, but suddenly go on the offensive and start making him react, then he loses his plan, and now you're going on your plan.
To recap a little bit, I'm kind of seeing two ideas here that
Right.
we're getting at. One is that like it's worth it. Take initiative. Like the world is not going to blow up so soon
Right.
that it's not worth it.
Right.
Right. So take initiative on the things that matter, even if they're slow fruit kind of things.
Right.
And number two is it's okay to do it slowly and to do it well.
Yes.
You don't need to rush it.
Mm-hmm.
So
Bingo.
both the world won't blow up. It's worth it to try things, and also like the world won't blow up. Like you have time
Right.
to like water plants,
Right.
and like brush your teeth when you wake up, maybe drive like the speed limit instead
Yeah.
of 20 over,
Yeah. Yeah. Will, you had a fantastic example earlier. You talked about at your work. Can you give that one?
Yes. So when I think of the idea slow is smooth and smooth is fast, the very first thing I think of is where I learned this at work at Chick-fil-A. So at Chick-fil-A, I don't work in the kitchen. I work up front. So it's a lot of with people stuff. It's also some simple production jobs. So largely we take the food and bag it, and we take, cups and we make drinks out of them.
Right.
And so you can imagine making drinks is a stressful, involved job.
Yeah.
Because every single order that touches that store probably has some kind of drink on it.
Yeah.
And it's kind of the one guy putting ice in every cup, putting it under the right thing, hitting the right button, making the other cup simultaneously because you don't have time.
Right.
While you print the sticker, while you grab the lid, while you clean the spill, while you grab the drink carrier,
Right.
while you call out that you need that shake.
Right.
Like it's very involved, and there's a lot of stress.
Right.
Right? So there's that natural pressure that you better speed the heck up, son.
Right.
Or it's going to eat you.
Right.
And while you're right, there's a danger there, right? Like it's suppression fire. You can't just sit still.
Right.
You also can't just like start running because
Right.
you will get shot. So what I mean by that is I found that I felt that pressure really hard to rush, and so I
Right.
did, but I would often be messy.
Yeah.
I would, move the drink too quickly,
Right.
like a little bit too fast, and I just sloshed lemonade everywhere.
Right.
And now either I clean it up, or when we put a drink carrier on it, the drink carrier falls apart. So like
Right.
either way, I lose time and things go wrong.
Right.
And then I'm really fast, but I click the wrong button, so now I have high C and a Powerade,
Right.
and that's just not Powerade.
Right.
So now I have to redo it,
Right.
and also throw away the cup. Like it's an absolute mess.
Right.
And I wouldn't always mess it up. Like sometimes I'd get to go fast,
Right.
but I would just make so many mistakes
Right.
that the thing I really had to learn,
Right.
guys, like to cross that plateau of skill, was to just go like 20% slower.
Yeah.
And then that way, none of those mistakes happened.
Right.
I never sloshed lemonade because I always just took my time moving
Right.
it back. And I never clicked the wrong button because I took my time. I didn't have to wipe up
Right.
many spills,
Yeah.
right? But I found out that the time I lost by being 20% slower, I earned back and then some, and then some. Just because it went right.
Right.
Because slow is smooth, and smooth
Is fast.
is fast. Right? But if you just start with the fast, like fast is sloppy, and sloppy is slow.
Right. I like that.
So that's how I met this concept at work.
That's awesome. And you mentioned too, you're not stressed anymore because before you're constantly fixing mistakes.
Yeah.
And going, oh, sorry. Let me clean that.
Yeah, my heart rate is also lower now, which is good.
Right. And so, like, being able to stay at a scary job, you have to know how to do that job calmly and not be panicked, right?
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, you're just miserable the whole time.
Yeah, it's gonna suck.
Wow. Yeah. There's a quote from a cowboy movie called Tombstone, where this sheriff guy, right, he gets in all these gunfights with these outlaws, and he talks about whipping out your pistol and shooting. When the other guy is doing the same thing 20 feet away, he says, "Fast is fine, but accuracy is final."
Ah, nice.
You have to know how to be slow in a hurry. And I love that.
Yeah.
Slow in a hurry.
Nice.
Like, you have to understand, like you said, the pressure of these people want their milkshakes now. But you can't let that get to you because there's a big difference between fast and sloppy and being smooth and being able to be accurate and on point.
Yes, there's a difference between urgency and like rush.
I like
rushing.
that. I like
Yes, absolutely. My dad has an old saying, measure twice, cut once in construction. And I have to keep that in mind all the time.
that. Yeah.
Nice. I think that speaks to it perfectly.
Now, how do we apply this to our lives? I think that there's many, many ways in which fear and stress and anxiety plague us in many different ways. And being able to recognize it and like understand why that fear is there, but still not let it paralyze us is very important. You know, something that I struggle with is I've had a very fun life of doing a lot of different jobs, but I didn't like staying in a position that bored me or made me anxious or stressed me out.
Right.
And what I've learned is the people that can do that can stay in a position that bores or stresses them out for a couple of years, and they have a clear plan in mind of how they're going to build up this skill, get this certain certification, you know, get these years of experience, and then apply to this better job. Those are the people that actually get out of depression and poverty. Yeah. Whereas guys like me really struggle because we're giving up too quickly, or we're changing to a new idea too quickly. It's like always being fast and sloppy.
Yeah.
So a couple ideas of how to practice this idea of being slow in a hurry, slow and smooth. One of them is to practice thinking long term. Like Will was saying earlier, maybe the world won't blow up, and you will be alive when you're older.
Novel.
When I was younger, I really dreaded the thought of being 30. I really didn't want to think about it. I remember I used to work out to this military song that would say, "Lord, make me dead before you make me old." Man. And I kind of believed it. Like, I'd rather be dead than old. Well, I'm 27 now. I'm going to be 30 in 3 years. And Lord, please don't make me dead before you make me old. Gabe, you did something really cool the other day about this.
I figured it was about time that I quit trying to get rich fast and just have another source of income. You know, to back up. So I finally started a Roth IRA.
Hey.
There you go.
And I just put $5,000 in, and I don't need that money.
Right.
And even if I did need that money, I'm sure I could find some other things to cut.
Right.
To where I could just put that in. I can't pull it out until I'm 59, but at least I have some assurance now to where if I screw up really badly and lose all my money, or I get disabled or something, that I will have something that I can at least rely on when I get older. Right. So bingo. I had to stop thinking about, this get rich quick mentality.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And really start thinking about my future.
Absolutely. It still fills me with dread to think of me as a 59-year-old man. I'm probably going to be fatter then. I'm probably going to have a big wrinkly nose or something.
Oh, of course.
Yeah. But God, I hope I get to be 59.
Right.
Right. Yeah. And it'd be really nice to be like, hey, I remember when 27-year-old me put that money in the Roth IRA. So I know that you guys are thinking that, because I was thinking it. All you 20-year-olds, 19-year-olds, 23-year-olds that cannot imagine being 59, please take Gabe's advice. Stop trying to get rich quick and think about setting something like that up.
Yeah. At least do the bare minimum to cover your butt.
Right.
You don't need to put all the money in the Roth IRA.
Right. Just
and
the 5K.
It doesn't need to be a Roth IRA even, but do your due diligence to not screw yourself over.
Right.
There was a time, if I may, right, when I struggled with depression for a bit, and one of the ways that I screwed myself over is kind of intentionally, I sabotaged myself by not brushing my teeth. And sometimes that was like an act of spite. I'm like, you know what? I know I should, so I'm not going to.
Really?
Just so that, just to screw that guy over. And what a jerk bag. And I brush my teeth now, right? Because that's one of the most practical, it's a small inconvenience now for massive gains down the line, and a little gains right now. I don't smell like a slob. But also I'll have teeth when I'm 50.
Yeah.
And that's pretty cool. And that's pretty low bar, but do your diligence.
Yeah.
Right? And even if the bomb does blow, let it find you doing your diligence and brushing your teeth.
Right.
Go down a sensible man who is preparing for the future.
Yeah.
And if God gives him a family, he'll have the resources to take care of a family. He'll have teeth to eat with them.
Right. Yeah, that's awesome.
One of the best advice I ever got was from my brother about brushing my teeth. He said, Gabriel, you're never going to get a girlfriend or get married if you don't brush your teeth. No girl wants a guy with rotten teeth. I was like, okay, well, you know what? I think I want to get married and have kids in the future, so I guess I better start brushing my teeth.
That's awesome. That plays perfectly into my next point, which is self-care. You know I love to say little things. Those little things, man.
Yeah.
You've got to do those little things. If you don't like looking at yourself in the mirror and you think, oh, this guy's kind of ugly, who would want to marry this guy? Dude, I have those thoughts all the time. I think everybody has those thoughts from time to time. You have to learn to start loving that guy in the mirror and start loving and taking care of that guy and who that guy's going to be. And that means taking the time to brush his teeth, taking the time to bathe and work out and build up that guy in the mirror, because that's the only guy you've got. God's not going to give you a second one down the road just for fun. It's you and your body, man. It's you and yourself. And if you want to do some big plan, chances are you need to watch out for burnout. And you need to take care of yourself every step of the way. There's a meme that I really like where there's a samurai looking guy. He's like an older Japanese guy.
Yeah.
And he's got his feet in a tub of hot water. And it says, masters of any discipline are masters of self-care. If you want to be able to get to the finish line, you're going to have to take care of your body to get there.
Yeah.
Do you all have any thoughts on that?
When I got my first trucking job at YRC, the manager told me before he hired me, he said, you won't have much time for a social life if you take this job. Are you ready for that? And I needed a job, and I was willing to take anything, so I just said yes. But at the same time, in the back of my mind, I was like, we'll see about that. And so what I did was, it was a union company, so it was very hard to get any off time. But I worked really hard at the company, and because I worked hard, I became very valuable, and they wanted to keep me, and they were willing to give me free off time, extra off time, just to get off on Tuesday nights after an 8-hour shift, so I could go to Bible study and see my friends and study God's Word. But normally I worked at 12 to maybe even 15-hour day.
Wow.
But then on the weekends, on Saturday, I would get up in the morning and I would do my chores, and then Sunday was my fun day.
Nice.
And then I get back to the grind. And then every time I got back from work, I would always make a little bit of time to at least watch a little bit of Netflix, read a book, or play a few games or something to unwind. But just make time for yourself, or else you'll go insane.
Yeah, that's awesome.
What that makes me think of, Gabe, is the wisdom I found recently that is like the human body, right, holds some wisdom in it.
Yeah.
Like, I think God made us a certain way for a reason. And as it turns out, like thinking of like exercising, right? If you're trying to get big, what do you have to learn, Micah?
You gotta learn how to rest.
You gotta learn how to rest. Because as it turns out, as much like glory as it gets to like lift big weights and be in pain and like, I'm suffering, but I'm gonna do it again.
Right.
Like, as cool as that is, that's the destroying your body part of the exercise.
Right.
The healing your body bigger is the rest.
Yeah.
And like, that like after a big set, you need those 8 hours of sleep.
Yes.
If not the 10.
Right.
If not the good, like as well as the good meal.
Right.
As well as the rest off. Because if you do that same set again the next day, that's dangerous.
Yeah.
If you do it again, well then like literally screw you. Like that's not going to do anything.
Right.
So as much as it's important to push yourself and do the hard things, physiologically, our bodies tell us a story.
Yeah.
And that is a story that like in all things balance.
Right.
Right. In pursuit of growth, there must be a lot of time.
Right.
For rest, rejuvenation, processing.
Right.
Maybe that's not like couch potatoing.
Yeah.
You don't have to go too far, but rest.
Absolutely. And that's how you actually do something successfully long term. I think we all have made resolutions to go to the gym, and we do it for like a week and then it sucks and we stop doing it. But to actually see steady incremental growth, you have to have a certain days where you rest, days where you go, days where you do certain exercises, days where you don't touch that muscle group.
Right.
And let it heal. Again, just want to hammer this home. For all you young guys out there that are younger than us, and you think you're going to live to be 100 years old, please think about the future. Think about who you're going to be at 30, 40, 50. Don't just push that away because you're full of anxiety about it. And you don't want to think about dying. You don't want to think about getting old and ugly. And it's kind of like that suppression fire. You let that fear of getting old and lame and not cool paralyze you from actually making good decisions that you need to make at 20, at 22, at 24 in order to set yourselves up for success. Really try to have a 5-year plan, a 3-year plan in your mind of what you're going to be doing. I think that's something I've had to do being 27 and just realize I need to start making longer plans than 6 months.
Yeah. Because if you have a goal, like a even somewhat wise goal, if you're only making a little bit of progress,
Right.
that progress is going to move you towards something.
Right.
And anybody who's like walked anywhere knows that like the progress is slow.
Right.
Maybe painfully slow if you're not used to it. But you get closer to the destination.
Yeah.
And that's just how it works.
Yeah.
As long as you're going somewhere,
Yeah.
the little things matter so much more.
Absolutely.
So I totally agree.
There's a funny meme that where you see a knight and he's got like a lot of arrows sticking out of him and he's like struggling to get up and walk, and it's titled "Guys that said they weren't going to be alive at 27 having to get their life together at 27."
Man, yeah.
One of the ways that you can do this is, one, get away from losers, people that will bring you down. Who you surround yourself with matters an extreme amount. And most people are time wasters. Most people, they just go from day to day, not even thinking about their future. And if those are your friends, then that's going to influence you a lot. You need to discipline yourself to do things that you really want to do, but you don't. Some days you're not going to want to go to the gym, but discipline yourself to doing it even when you don't want to. Choose your friends very wisely. And try to be at the bottom of your friend group. You don't want to be the smartest person in your friend group, because then you're not learning anything.
Yeah.
So it's a good keep your old friends forever, but it's a good idea to meet new people and try to not be the most intelligent person in the room.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of wisdom there to like specifically not just being content with where you're at, but like looking for better.
Yeah.
Right, to grow. I think like to add some nuance to that as well. I try to remember that it's not like growth long term isn't just about what I get, but it's about what I give too.
Yeah.
It's about planting and watering seeds, not just being watered too. So there are some places where there are people who aren't like my superiors, but like being a good friend will be good for both of us in the long term.
Yes.
Right. So because I could hear that and go like, well, I guess I better not hang out with losers, and then define losers as the people who do X or Y or Z.
Right.
But it's not about that. It's about just being a little more critical.
Yeah.
Of who you spend your time with, a little more critical of what you're doing.
Right.
A little more critical of like what those inputs are and what's that saying to you, and like, let's be honest, are you lazier because you spend all of your time with super lazy people?
Right.
Okay, how can we address that?
Right.
I think for me, that's the wisdom from that.
Yeah. I think a really good way of interpreting what y'all both just said, try to look at how you're spending your time and think about what you're doing. Is it like something stressful happens and you're like, man, I got to just go game for 3 hours. And you're like, you call your best buddy and you're like, just jump on the game with me, man. And you play games. And in your mind, you're like, I deserve this because I had to go through this really lousy day. But if you keep doing that, you're going to be bleary-eyed going into work the next day,
Right.
And you're not going to improve in a way that helps you get out of having that stressful job. And what you said earlier about like learning to go 20% slower, learning how to overcome your anxieties, improve your work life. What that involves is sometimes you have to, when your friend calls you and says, jump on the game with me, man, be like, not tonight, man. And just having that discernment of like, I don't want to be paralyzed by my anxieties and resort to these childish, it's like being a child when you just curl up in a little ball when the bullets are flying overhead.
Right.
You don't want to resort to these childish reactions of, I got to go game for 5 hours. I got to just binge my favorite TV show. I got to go drink. We really want to start asking ourselves, is this how we want to spend the rest of our life, reacting to things? No. We want to react in a productive way that solves the problem and gets me out of the bad spot.
Absolutely. And I think part of what defines that as a childish thing is how dependent you are upon it. And I think what needs to be redefined is like, who is in charge of this internal system? Like, are you running the ship? And do you like respond to your inputs and respond to your emotions and like lead your thoughts? Or are you beholden
to your emotions,
to your impulsive desire to play games?
Right. Yeah, you got to be the captain.
You got to be critical about it.
Right, you got to be the man. It's you. Yeah, you absolutely have to change that loser, not friend circle per se, but like you want to mentality. You want to be the guy at the bottom. I really like what you said. You want to be the guy at the bottom, where you're looking up to your friends. You admire them. You want to learn from them. They push you to be better. You don't want to be in a safe comfort zone. You're a little safe space. You're a little ball. So I'm not saying like cut your friends out of your life,
Right.
But like definitely, I really, really like what Gabe said, and I'm definitely going to make a podcast on it later.
Nice.
About you want to be at the bottom of your social hierarchy. because that might seem embarrassing or stressful, but in reality, it means that you are constantly being pushed to be better. Whereas if you're the big fish in the little pond, yeah, you're a really cool guy until you go into a bigger pond and you realize that you're not prepared. There's nothing worse than being the best person you know at something, and then you go into a bigger competition, like a nationals or something, and you realize you don't know nothing.
I'm nothing, and I haven't been challenged to grow in years.
Right.
Yeah.
Again, it feels really safe when you're in that foxhole or you're behind that stone wall and you're just curled up in a ball, and Avin's saying, you gotta move, you gotta shoot back, and you're saying, nah, man. Feels really good up until that mortar lands on you. So, feels really good to play video games or quit your job or whatever, up until real life smacks you in the face. And then you look at the guys that got out of your situation. What did they do? They stayed calm, they formed a plan, they thought long term, they did self-care and a regimen along the way so that they could stay in the fight, and they got out of their bad situation.
They took a little extra time to do it right.
Yes, they got it right the first time. So right now I'm applying for engineering jobs because I realize that my vending machine business that I'm doing is probably going to take several years before it can replace my full income. But rather than give up and just say, oh, it's not worth trying, I'm still trying to build my business. I've just accepted it's going to take a long time to be what I want it to be. And so in order to do that, I needed a long-term plan. So I'm applying for my engineering jobs in order to have something to take care of me while I build the business. And with the engineering, I just got a lot of rejection emails because I don't have my EIT certification. My EIT certification takes 3 months to get. I really don't want to think about still being unemployed in 3 months applying for jobs.
Right.
But what's better for me? Not having the EIT or having it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And for me, the way that I'm practicing this is I've realized that the plateau I'm on, I really need to show up 10 minutes early, dude.
Yeah.
And that's not a big deal. Like that's 20%. Go 20% slower. Just get there a little bit earlier, and it looks immaculate. As a leader, it kind of gives me the right to hold people accountable.
Right.
Because I have integrity.
Right.
Yeah, it just makes a big difference. I feel gathered. I have time. It feels exactly like the lemonade. I'm not sloshing everywhere.
You're not stressed anymore.
I'm not stressed anymore. I have a lower BPM. So just showing up a little earlier, as it turns out, was my point of friction. That was the place where I needed to go 20% slower.
Let's go.
It made a big difference.
You just heard a very manly bro fist on the microphone.
What I do to put this into practice, I just started a Roth IRA. That's easy to do. It's actually very easy to do. All you have to do is get online, and there's plenty of places you can do it too. Fidelity is the most popular one, but there's also Merrill Lynch. But Merrill Lynch is owned by BlackRock, so keep that in mind.
Yeah.
And take care of yourself. Take the extra effort to take care of yourself every day.
Darn right. It's worth it.
I like what you said about make time for yourself every day. Because you need that dude. He needs to show up tomorrow.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, my friends, in conclusion, life is full of very scary things. Once we stop acting like children, we realize that there's a lot of ways we can mess up and a lot of ways that we can ruin our lives. And we need to act with that urgency that the Western civilization is collapsing, that the night is coming, that the enemies are coming, that if we don't act, our civilization that has endured for 1,000 years will be gone. But with all of that dread hanging over us, like the bullets whizzing over soldiers' heads, we must be able to stay calm, stick to our plan, and still think long term, still fight for the world where, as Will put it, we do not blow up. I've been Micah Sheldon.
I'm William Gibson.
And I'm Gabriel Stolaas.
And this has been Virtue and Valor.